Real Women, Real Life. We're here for our next episode. It's going to be all about the topic of love. So that can be any type of relationship, from family to friends, of course to significant others as well. And we just wanted to share kind of what our feelings were about it, and then we'd love to hear your feedback as well. So ladies, let's talk a little bit about love. Let's just start with our word. Let's define love for each of you.
Well, how about we start with you? How do you define love?
How do I define love? Okay. So love for me is 1, showing compassion. 2, it's having a commitment. Mm-hmm. And then being open-minded and accepting.
Okay. When you ask me what love is, I would say it's selfless. It's being able to put the needs of another person above your own. And it is being willing to see the person as they are and love them or appreciate them right where they are, and not try to make them any more or less than they have to give you.
I think love, whatever form it takes, it's what wakes you up in the morning, what makes you want to be a better person, do better things, achieve better things. It's what motivates you to go out there and be a better person for your family, for your loved ones, for your significant other, for your friends. It's the base of happiness, whether it's selfless love or self-love. It can take many shape or forms, but it's one of the things that motivates us to get up in the morning.
For me, love is unconditional. You know, I don't feel like it should be something that is judged, because nobody is perfect, and you know, we all have our mistakes and our faults, and no matter if we have a past or if we have a, you know, just we shouldn't be judged for being who we are. And I think that love for me is just trying to love the person and not look at who they were or who they're going to be. Support them either way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. As a current, so a couple of you brought up selfless love versus self-love. Mm-hmm. So my question is, self-love or selfless love?
I feel like there's a space for both of them.
Okay.
But you have to balance it out. Like, there can't be too much of one or the other. But I feel like if you don't have a base of self-love, then you are unable to have selfless love for other people. Because you really, I feel like unless you can love yourself, you have nothing left. You have nothing to give to anyone else, to support them and to, because loving yourself means understanding who you are first and what your needs, strengths, and weaknesses are, and then you can engage with relationships with other people, whether it be romantic or otherwise.
Yeah. Self-love is the base to selfless love. You have to love yourself before you can properly love others. Mm-hmm. And switching it to another perspective, you have to have self-love to know when you are giving selfless love to someone who doesn't deserve it. Mm-hmm. If you don't have self-love, you're going to blindly love other people, not knowing or not recognizing that they're doing you wrong, and you don't love yourself enough to say, hey, I don't deserve this. But for me personally, self-love was the base of being in a selfless marriage.
Mm-hmm. Anything
to I agree. I think there's a very fine line. I think starting with love, self-love is important. I'm literally thinking about my past, and I'm thinking, you know, I've missed a lot of self-love where I'm catching up to that now, and you know, it's like I feel selfish for doing it, but then I think of all the people that have, there's not all the people that have hurt me in the past, or that have wronged me, and I think maybe I should have loved myself more and not put up with it. And that's a hard thing to see, because you want to be able to see the good in everybody. And so, to be able to love yourself first and then love somebody, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much what how it's always been, is I've always had an empty cup, but I've always loved everybody else first. And now I'm pretty much independent and doing my own thing. I realize that, hey, I can go get my nails done, or hey, I can go get my hair done, and it's all about self-love for myself to make me feel better. And I think that's hugely important.
Yeah, so you literally transitioned to the way I wanted to go. So what are some of your favorite self-love activities? You said nails and hair.
Oh, I love getting my nails and hair done. Somebody else washing your hair is the best feeling in the world.
It is. I agree with that.
Wait, I can second that. I always have somebody else wash my hair. But then there are people who don't wash hair very well, and you're like, it's still itchy.
Yeah, exactly.
What about you? Any fun self-love activities?
I think, well, you know what? I think, I know everything comes back to music for me, because I'm a freaking music box, but listening to the right music will, I don't know, if I'm having a really rough day, and it's like, my attitude, I'm like, not liking myself because my attitude's so stinky, right? If I am able to find the right music and just rock out in my own mirror, to my own, what's that called? Brush. Me and my brush, man, we're hanging out like it, and it's not for anyone else to see, but boy, does it help me, because it changes my attitude.
Yeah.
So, I feel like each of us, not to go on a different tangent, but I feel like each of us has a song in their heart, and I know that sounds like it might be like, what's the word? It might be very anyway, it might not be something everybody understands, or it might be like very Pollyanna to some people, but I really feel like we all have a message or a reason for walking the walk that we do, whether we have physical difficulties or other ones. I really feel like we're put in the world right where we're put in the world for a very distinct reason.
Yeah.
Right. To meet very distinct people and to make very distinct progress in the world, to change the world in some way. Each of us is. So, and I think that our inner dialogue has a lot to do with that. So I think addressing your inner dialogue is one self-love activity, most definitely.
For sure. I definitely agree.
Yeah. For me, it's a mix of a good workout will make me feel like I invested in myself. No one's pushing me. I don't have a schedule. I don't have to be there. I could choose not to, but I did. And at the end, it does feel like, hey, kudos, you did it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also taking a day off at home, not even looking at the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Some good trash TV and some dogs on the couch will solve anything. And shopping. I mean, if shopping doesn't fix your mood, I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly. Yeah. I was married for 9 years, and I never did anything for myself. And when he moved out, my best friend, she told me, she said, let's go get our nails done. Okay. I can't afford that, but I figured it out. And I was like, I kind of like this. And it became an addiction for me. I have to go get my nails done every 3 to 4 weeks. I cannot stand it. And then I started doing my hair, and it was like getting my hair done. And to have somebody else wash your hair is just the best thing next to sliced bread. I mean, it just is the best thing ever. And again, that goes back to self-love. You've got to you've got to spoil yourself in order to be on the right track.
I just want to say personally, if you, like, for me, putting on makeup is not for anyone else but myself. So, because I want to start the day at a certain spot for myself, and I know that if I put on makeup and I would dress nicely and stuff, I'm going to carry myself differently. I'm going to carry myself with confidence, with love, with, I'm going to, like, exude a certain type of thing that I want to exude. No matter what kind of response I get from the outside stimuli, it's up to me to determine my starting place. And so those things are self-love and, because as people with disabilities, I'm going to talk about this specifically. As people with disabilities, we have to do whatever we need to do to make sure that we have a leg up, or that we feel the best we can about ourselves, because the world already makes certain just by factors that are completely out of our control, already makes certain determinations and judgments about us regardless of.
Right.
So it's up to us to change that.
Yeah.
So.
I definitely agree. So, okay, now that we talked about love more on the umbrella level, let's dive a little bit deeper. So let's talk about any short story or any experience where you either experienced first love or some type of date or a marriage or anything like that. But let's share some kind of short story. It can be a funny story. It doesn't have to be a funny story.
Oh, I have a funny story.
Go for it.
You're gonna love it.
Okay.
Well, you gotta know it's good when she's laughing before she.
Right.
It's good. I was, when I first discovered what love was, when it hit me in the face, I was 9 years old. 9 years old, not kidding. And this guy, my mom's best friend, her son was like 16, I guess. He was in his teenage years. And I have carried that crush. I had a crush on him. I carried it until probably the last 5 years, and he just now found out. But I would be in my bedroom and singing with my brush.
I'm telling you, it helps people. Women, go out and get a good brush. It's a good thing. Okay.
By Chicago, they had that
Oh,
song.
man.
You're the inspiration. I used to sing that as loud as I could possibly sing it.
Was it to his picture on the wall?
Yes, it was. It was. And I would just sing, and I'd cry, and I'd be so in love. He never even knew it until 5 years ago, and he's like, "Oh, that's so sweet." Yeah.
I'm glad he knows, because if not, he knows now.
Right?
Oh, he knows. He knows. Yeah, he knows. But
You
yeah,
guys got anything?
Tell us about yours, and then I'll go.
That's interesting. I was kind of hoping we would get to that, how that you and your husband got together, and how that was being as far as being in a wheelchair, being disabled, and how that all connected.
I wish I had a longer story for you guys about that, but this kid literally looked the other way.
What?
Everybody has the same question. What did he do when he found out you were in a chair? He blinked twice. I don't know. He didn't do much. We met on an online site.
Well, that's encouraging.
Fun fact, the very first picture he saw of me, well, aside from the ones on my profile, the very first picture I sent him was on Halloween. And I was Mortal Kombat.
Oh, you go.
First impression.
I'm about to kick your butt. Sorry.
And it was, I guess, from like the knees up, the picture. And obviously after he did the right thing and told me how beautiful I looked, although I looked pretty questionable, he said, are you in a chair? Is that a wheelchair? And I said, yeah. Oh, cool.
That was all.
That was it.
Awesome. Does he have a brother?
He's
He needs 4.
only child.
Cousins, brothers.
You know,
Only child.
can he
I'm
train
sorry.
people to be open-minded?
We're gonna have a man training class.
Later on, when we met, in person, there was never, his only questions was, what can I do? How can I help you? Is there anything you need me to do? And it was a struggle because I would give him the death stare, as he calls it, if he would try to get my bag, or if he would try to help me open a door or get my groceries, until he sat me down one day and he was like, listen, I need you to remind yourself that you are a woman.
Right.
And that I am opening doors for you and carrying your bags and wanting to carry your purse because you are a woman. Not because you're in a wheelchair, because obviously you lived very good before I came along. And that was the first time I got yelled at, and I was like, oh yeah, he's the one.
Yeah.
And
God love somebody
that
that
was
can
it.
kick your butt and take names.
That one conversation made me shift my perspective to, that's right, I am a girl before I am disabled.
Right.
And until this day, it helps me. Sometimes I would get mad, like, why are guys opening the door for me? I can do it myself. But you are a girl. So
And that's what they're supposed to do.
Sometimes we get so caught up in my disability, that you
Right.
forget that people are looking at you.
Right.
People are wanting to open doors for a girl sometimes, regardless, wheelchair or not.
Right.
So, I mean, that's one of 500,000 stories.
That was very impressive.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you guys, first love. I was 9 years old.
What is it with 9-year-olds?
See, I feel so much better now.
Okay, so, and I lived in Nashville, Tennessee, and I was a part of an adaptive sports program in Nashville, Tennessee. And I had this crush on this little boy, and we were going to a sports meet, right? And so my mom and his mom are driving in the front seat of the car, and my mom says later, she said, we looked back there and you guys were naked. She's like, what are these kids doing? Like, what are they doing? Like, this is way too young for this crap. I mean, but what am I going to do? I was having a good time, whatever. But anyway, so there's that.
There's that.
There's that extent, and then there's also, because I kind of want to talk about what happens when you don't necessarily get the response that you want to get, and how do you pick yourself up from that, because and setting healthy boundaries, because this is something that I still struggle with, and I think that is also self-love.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You guys should know that as a part of my past, I've had a lot of people take advantage of me, male, female wise, in the wrong capacity, which has sent the wrong messages to my self-esteem. Right. So that means that I have a lot of personal uphills to talk myself through before I'm even able to engage in a healthy conversation. And these are things that we all, as human beings, male or female, have to address, is what circumstances we've come through in our life. But then still reminding yourself, hey, I'm still a female. And hey, even though sometimes I might feel like invisible, which I do, as crazy as that sounds, you can feel invisible, because you're like, people just look at me like something they should pity, or something they don't understand, or whatever. So they don't look at me like the woman that I want to be seen as. So there's two different sides of that coin. Mm-hmm. And like learning how to make, especially when those boundaries have been moved or whatever, because of things that are sometimes beyond your control, or you've made bad decisions and allowed people to treat you a certain way, mm-hmm. and then you want to go back and fix the way your attitude is. again, it goes back to you got to change your own dialogue. And down here, one of the things Sarah asked about is, what do you fear the most?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I think that because I've put up all kinds of blockades because of everything that I've been through, that now I'm it's almost like I'm scared to bring it all down and let somebody see the vulnerable side of me, because what if they don't like it, or what if they treat it wrong and I can't, because it took me a long time to pick myself back up from being down so far, that I'm like, it's not necessarily that it's kind of like I don't trust myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that anyway, that took a little bit of a turn, and I understand that, but I wanted to bring out that, you know, just like everything in life, relationships can be good. The good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between.
Right.
But the thing about like what you mentioned, when it's not, you know, mutual,
Mm-hmm.
that I think that that's okay too. I don't think that that's a disability community issue. I think that every human being gets turned down at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Could be personality, could be baggage, could be a disability, could be a terminal illness, could be, you know, you
Right.
see it everywhere, and people's from all walks of life. So
Mhm.
I think the self-love in us should also remind us it's not necessarily because of the disability, or it might start with a disability, but when you dissect the person, it ends up being a personal problem.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Your disability is not the problem. The fact that they can't handle that in their life is their problem, and it shouldn't be your job to fix that so that they can properly love you.
Right.
And that goes for
that's
everything.
a good thing.
When you have
That's a
friends
good
that
point, honestly.
don't know how to treat you, it's not your job to say, hey, I want you to treat me this way. I want you to look at me. I want you to say good morning to me. If that doesn't come from that person's heart, that person has to step back from you, dissect themselves, and come back when they're ready to offer you something that are within your boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
We're not bad people for setting boundaries. We're
Right.
not, you know, in my dating days, that sounded like a decade ago. You still have to set boundaries. You know, you're not gonna hang out with me, disappear for a month, and come back like nothing happened.
Right.
And I'm supposed to be grateful because you called back? No, honey. You were in the trash like 3 weeks ago.
Right.
And it's okay for you to have those boundaries.
Right.
And I think that's important when all kinds of relationships don't turn out good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Stop putting that mirror on your face and turn the mirror the other way. What's wrong with that person?
Right.
Why are they treating me bad? Because I'm not doing nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But it's
Exactly.
hard to look at it the other way.
Right. Because you dissect yourself a lot easier than you dissect other people. And from my own personal experience, I'm really good at looking at myself and going, ugh.
Right.
And
But
not-
you never think that the crappy way that person treated you is their fault,
Mhm.
not yours.
Yeah, and it's their insecurities. It could be their insecurities more than your own.
And sometimes you look at like relationships or, you know, dating people that didn't work out, and you look at them 5-10 years later and you're like, yikes, thank God that didn't work out.
Right.
For real.
I've done that.
I've been
Same.
there. I'm there right now. I'm like, wow, you know, that's such a good thing. But one thing I think, just going back to a little bit to what you were saying about us as women or individuals with disabilities, if you are in the life of someone with a disability, you have to be able to be in the spotlight. People are always going to be watching. It's just something that's going to happen. I mean, just by nature, because things look a little different. So if you don't have a strong enough partner that can accept that and realize that, you know, then they're not strong enough for you. It's okay to say that person's not strong enough to be in my space because they can't allow me to be authentically me, you know. So
And it's just like any relationship, you're gonna look for protection, disability or not. You're gonna
Right.
look for male, female, to
Right.
protect your space, protect your person. You know, you feel secure, and you know, that all comes with being in a relationship in general.
Right.
You know, when I'm with my husband and people look at us, we don't mind.
Right,
You know.
right.
I've never minded people looking at me. I'll stare back, and by that point, you're like, never mind.
Yeah.
But people are not always looking like, oh my God, what is that? No, sometimes people are like, oh my God, she's so cute. Look at those shoes. Where'd you get those shoes?
Yeah, exactly.
And conversations will stem from those looks sometimes.
Right.
Or when we're together, is that your wife?
Right.
Yes, it is. Oh my goodness, you guys look so beautiful together. You know, it's not always negative, but
Right.
for those bad stares that you get, people look at me and then they look at my husband and then they regret being where they are, and I'm like, yeah, that's it right there. So
You're
having
welcome.
that security that like, yeah, just look at him, he'll let you know.
Right.
Yeah.
It's important.
Right.
It's important.
And that's any relationship. That's not even just a romantic relationship.
Parents, friends, family members, anything.
And I think it goes back to being able to put the other person first. If you are really in the right kind of relationship with someone, you can put their agenda aside of your own, because what happens is you start walking a walk together, and you work together in a partnership, and either it's gonna work or it's not gonna work. You know, and there's a lot of factors, good, bad, and ugly, that can contribute to that.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of times it's timing, because sometimes the same person can come into your
Yeah.
life at one time and it not be a good time, because it's just not a good time for a lot of reasons, for them, for you, whatever. And then they can come back into your life in 5 years and it'd be like, wow.
Yeah.
And that person will look completely different.
And it's about having open-minded people in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And by open-minded, I mean when I was a teenager, my friends were so up to anything with me that, sorry mom, she already knows, it's fine. I used to sneak out. And my friends will sneak out my chair first. And then sneak me out. You know? So you just gotta have people in your life that are down for anything and
Right.
open-minded. How do we sneak you out, Steph? Well, you gotta get the chair first.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Right.
And then I got caught, and my mom put all kinds of wood planks on the window, so it was fun while it lasted.
Hey, I have this visual right now. That's just awesome. Thank you for the visual.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
It was fun.
She learned to parachute and didn't even mean.
Right?
Hold on, Steph. Hold on. We got you. It's
Yeah,
all
my
good.
friends were able to put the chair together, pull it apart, pull it. Yeah.
And that's the best part, when they know how to put the chair together, so you don't have to waste time telling them how to put it together.
Well, figure it out. I'm too busy trying to sneak out.
All right, ladies. Well, we're gonna wrap it up because we're getting near our end time. So let's just go around and what's your ideal date, or like friend date, or anything like that? Like, what's your favorite place or favorite thing to do with friends or significant others?
With friends, social drinking, hanging out, you know, just a girls' time. I like hanging out with girls. I like the girl time, you know, just to be able to hang out and tell stories like we do here, you know, and just gossip and whatever. As far as a relationship, relationship type of date, I don't know, possibly, I mean, campfires are my kind of thing. I like camping. I like, you know, hanging out by a fire and bonfires and that kind of thing.
Okay, fire. Got it.
Underneath the stars.
She likes fire.
She's
Anything hot. Okay.
Summer's very hot.
Just saying.
She's feeling hot today.
You know what's funny is my horoscope is April, so it's Aries, which is fire.
That makes sense.
And one of my friends, she calls me a fireball.
Do you like
Do you
Fireball?
drink Fireball too?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Well, I have, but I mean,
I was gonna be like,
I kind of try to stay away from it because
That
it's
was
way
like
too
destiny
good.
there if it was. That was
Yeah,
all fire
Fireball.
related. All right. Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I'm more attracted to water, actually. I really like the beach. I like lakes and that kind of thing. I'm
Okay.
into that, but
A lake with a bonfire.
yeah,
Oh, perfect.
yeah.
Ideal.
Yeah, right. Let's make that happen. We're gonna have a girls' night.
There's a lake
in
back
Boston.
there and a fire pit. I
Yeah.
can probably figure it out. I probably shouldn't start the fire. Anyway.
She didn't start the fire. Okay, anyway. Moving on. So I just want to say my favorite thing to do with a date or I just like having good conversation with people in general. That will help me to. I'm a deep person, as crazy as I am. I feel like I can grow from people that have different perspectives and stuff like that, so I enjoy that. I also love laughing. I don't know if you guys
I love
get
to laugh.
that, but I enjoy doing anything, and I will do anything once just to, and it doesn't have to really have a reason. Like, I literally went to the zoo one time, and my mom bought me a monkey mask. And she said, I dare you to wear this mask all the way throughout the whole park. And if you do that, you can win, I'll give you $5. I said, okay, I'll do it. And so I did it. I did that. I went streaking in my front yard. Sorry, Mom. You just do crazy things, and you gotta live life. And
We did race down your dirt road. That was the funniest wheelchair race ever.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, you just
did
have
some
to
wild
be
things.
authentically you, whatever that means, and live life to the full.
There you go. What's your ideal? Wine?
For friends and
Definitely
family, going out to restaurants, going out to have a drink, a bar somewhere, not a club, but like a bar somewhere, chill. For a romantic date, I like to get away to adventures. So we've been to cabins in the mountains. We've been to all-inclusive resorts where you don't have to leave for anything. We do a lot of road trips, so anything that I guess that comes from me feeling the most secure with him to try new things.
I can see.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up for today. Thank you guys so much again for watching our episode about love. I think we should have you guys comment on what your ideal date is so we can get some other date ideas. I know my favorite is going for coffee or anything outside. I love being outdoors. So post your favorite or ideal date, either with your friends or your significant other. We'd love to hear what they are. And we can't wait to see you on our next episode. Thanks so much. And we are Real Women, Real Life, and the future is inclusion.